The rain fell steadily over the courthouse steps as Emily Carter walked out carrying nothing but a small folder and a worn handbag. Her marriage of 12 years had officially ended. She didn't cry. She had already spent too many nights doing that. Behind her, her ex-husband, Ryan Carter, laughed with his friends. "Look at her," he said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "She wasted the best years of her life. Good luck finding someone who wants a woman with no money, no house, and no future." His friends chuckled. Emily stopped for a second but didn't turn around. She had learned long ago that arguing with Ryan only gave him more satisfaction. Once, he had been the charming man who promised her the world. They met in college when they had nothing except dreams. Emily worked 2 jobs so Ryan could finish business school. She believed in him even when no one else did. When Ryan started his construction company, Emily handled the paperwork, answered customer calls, and worked late nights without receiving a salary. She believed they were building a future together. Then success changed him. Money brought expensive suits, luxury cars, and people who constantly praised him. Slowly, Emily became invisible. He criticized everything she did. He laughed at her ideas. He called her ordinary. Eventually, he met someone younger, a glamorous social media influencer named Vanessa. Within months, Ryan asked for a divorce. Now it was over. Emily climbed onto an old city bus and stared through the foggy window. She whispered to herself, "This isn't the end." Emily rented a tiny apartment above an old bakery on the edge of town. The place had peeling paint, noisy pipes, and furniture older than she was. Still, it felt peaceful. No shouting, no insults, no pretending. Every morning she woke early and searched for jobs. But life wasn't easy. Many employers looked at her resume and frowned. "You've been out of the workforce for years. You don't have recent experience. We'll call you." Nobody called. Savings disappeared quickly. One evening, Emily sat on the apartment floor calculating her remaining money. She had enough for rent, barely. As she sighed, someone knocked. It was Mrs. Harris, the elderly bakery owner downstairs. "I baked too much bread again," the old woman smiled warmly. "Would you help me finish it?" Emily knew it wasn't true. Mrs. Harris simply didn't want her neighbor to go hungry. Emily smiled gratefully. "Thank you." Over the next few weeks, Emily began helping inside the bakery. She cleaned tables, served customers, learned how to knead dough before sunrise. The work was exhausting but honest. Customers loved her kindness. Soon many returned just because of Emily's warm smile. Mrs. Harris noticed. "You've got something special," she said. Emily laughed softly. "I just like treating people with respect." Exactly. Across town, Ryan was enjoying his new life. He posted photos from luxury restaurants, expensive vacations, designer clothes. Vanessa proudly shared every moment online. Whenever Ryan heard Emily was working in a small bakery, he laughed. "My ex went from helping build $1 million company to selling bread." Vanessa giggled. "What a downgrade." Ryan smirked. "She deserves it." One chilly Saturday morning, an elegant black limousine stopped outside the bakery. Everyone looked. A tall man stepped out wearing a perfectly tailored navy suit. His silver watch caught the sunlight. He wasn't surrounded by bodyguards. He walked inside quietly. Emily greeted him. "Good morning. Welcome." The man smiled. "I've heard your cinnamon rolls are the best in the city." Emily laughed. "Mrs. Harris deserves the credit." He ordered breakfast and sat by the window. As he watched the bakery, he noticed something unusual. Emily greeted every customer by name. She remembered children's birthdays. She secretly paid for an elderly veteran's breakfast after overhearing he couldn't afford it. She comforted a crying little girl who had dropped her cookie and replaced it for free. The mysterious visitor watched everything without saying much. Before leaving, he introduced himself. "My name is Alexander Hayes." Emily shook his hand politely. "Nice to meet you." She had no idea who he really was. Mrs. Harris nearly dropped a tray after reading the name on his business card. Her eyes widened. "Emily, do you know who that is?" Emily shook her head. "No. Alexander Hayes owns Hayes International." Emily blinked. "The billionaire." Mrs. Harris nodded slowly. "The very one." Emily shrugged. "He seemed nice." Mrs. Harris laughed. "Most billionaires don't eat breakfast in tiny neighborhood bakeries." The following Monday, Alexander returned. Then Tuesday. Then Wednesday. Eventually everyone assumed he simply loved fresh pastries. But there was another reason. He admired Emily's character. She never treated wealthy customers better than poor ones. She worked harder than anyone. She never complained. One afternoon Alexander asked, "Have you always worked here?" Emily smiled. "No. Life changed." He didn't push. Instead, he said gently, "Sometimes losing one chapter makes room for a better one." Emily looked surprised. "I hope you're right. I know I am." Meanwhile, Ryan received an invitation to the city's annual charity business gala. Every major entrepreneur would attend, including Alexander Hayes. Ryan couldn't hide his excitement. "If I impress him, my company could double in value." Vanessa grinned. "We'll be the stars of the evening." Ryan had no idea Alexander already knew far more about him than he realized. A week later, Emily received an elegant envelope. Inside was an invitation to the very same gala. She frowned. There must be a mistake. The card included a handwritten note. "Please come as my guest. I believe it's time the world sees the remarkable woman I met in a small bakery. Alexander Hayes." Emily stared at the note in complete disbelief. She had never attended such an event. She didn't even own an evening dress. Little did she know, accepting that invitation would change her life forever, and leave Ryan speechless in front of the city's most powerful people.